Hey CSM, welcome to CSM Wednesdays. My name is Coleman Hagar. I am volunteer staff at the Tempe campus, and I'm over there helping Justin out, having a good time. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, definitely come check it out. It's a pretty cool campus, and we also love visitors. So, let's jump right in. So, we're kind of in this series right now where we're sharing a story, then sharing a verse with it, and then giving some application. Um, and I always find it so funny when we were asked to share like a story, or like if you ever played like two truths and a lie, you have like all these like crazy stories and these crazy things that have ever happened to you, and you can like never figure out which one you want to share, or they all just like disappear from your brain. And you're like, wow, I've done nothing cool ever. Um, and that's kind of what happened to me. But I finally figured out what I wanted to talk about today. And it actually kind of recently just happened. I kind of want to talk about my trip to Israel. So before COVID kind of blew up and we were all put on lockdown, I was given the opportunity to go on like a 10-day trip to Israel, learn about kind of the Israel and Palestinian conflict that's going on over there, but really learn about peacemaking. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I think it's something that we all really need right now, and the world really needs right now specifically. It needs peacemakers, and I want to kind of just share my thoughts on peacemaking with you guys, and then hopefully give you some applications and some things to think about. But while we were there, we learned about the Israel and Palestinian conflict, which is this really crazy big conflict that I'm not even going to try to describe to you, because I won't do it justice, and you guys won't get the full picture. But definitely do some research on it. It's a super interesting topic, and it will definitely get you thinking about a lot of things. But basically, there is Israel and there's Palestine, and they're both kind of fighting for land. And there have been multiple attempts to try to create peace, but those attempts have failed. And it's kind of a really, really dark situation over there, but there's still a lot of really cool work going on to strive for peace over there. And we got to learn about that. But the whole point of the trip wasn't to go there and try to figure out the conflict between Israel and Palestine. The whole point of the trip was to go and learn about peacemaking for ourselves personally. And the biggest takeaway I got from that trip was something that our tour guide said to me. I approached him and asked him, what is peacemaking? And he gave me this really cool answer. And before I jump into that, I'm actually going to read us Genesis 3. I'm going to read a little bit of that, and that's the fall. And we all know this story, but I'm going to read it to kind of create a better picture for you guys. All right, so Genesis 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" The woman said to the serpent, we may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it or you will die." The serpent said, "You will certainly not die. For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." When the woman saw the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and was also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. And I'm going to stop right here, because this is the important part of what our tour guide said to me. So right here in the story of the fall, this is when the earth and the piece of the earth was shattered. And he used this imagery of, in this moment, the earth was shattered into a billion tiny little pieces. So imagining just the earth and the piece of the earth just being shattered like a glass almost. And then he said, as peacemakers, it is our responsibility to wake up every day and to pick one of those pieces up and place it back in its spot. And I think this imagery is beautiful, because peacemaking, like the Israel-Palestine conflict, is a really, really big task. I don't know if you've ever broken a glass before, but I definitely have. And when you break a glass, it shatters into these really big pieces, it shatters into like medium-sized pieces, it shatters into small pieces, and it shatters into these like microscopic pieces that like will get stuck in between your fingernails. Excuse me. Will get stuck in between your fingernails and will hurt forever. But these pieces go everywhere. And this really got me thinking. I was like, man, what is my responsibility as Coleman, who lives in Mesa, Arizona? How am I going to make peace with people? How am I going to peace make in my community and in my environment? And I think that the imagery of the different size pieces is really cool. I think that just a practical example for me is I work at Dutch Bros, as most of you know. We've had a whole Instagram live chat about it. Anyways, I work at Dutch Bros, which is customer service based. So we're interacting with customers every day. I talk to like a bunch of people every day that I don't know. And it's a really cool job. And one of the unfortunate things about this job, not unfortunate, but one of the really eye-opening things about this job when talking with a lot of people is there's just a lot of brokenness and there's a lot of just unsettlement in people, and there's a lot of peace that needs to be made with people. So I look at that as an opportunity to place one of those really tiny pieces back. And with this whole Black Lives Matter movement going on, we see a bunch of different petitions to be signed. We see videos to watch to educate ourselves. There are books out there to educate ourselves with, and each one of those things is a little piece that we can pick up and we can put back to hopefully soon one day restore the peace in the world, and to put all those pieces back and form the peace of the world again. So I want to challenge you guys today. I want you to take a really, really kind of in-depth look of your life and recognize the pieces that are in front of you. And I say the pieces that are in front of you because we can all try and go do or try and pick up this really big piece that we see, and we can try to put it back, but it might not be the best thing for us to do right now. There might be a lot of really small pieces in front of you that you need to pick up first before you can get to that big piece. There might be a medium-sized piece over here that you're gonna try and start doing, and in the meantime start picking up these little pieces. But take a minute and excuse me, take a minute and recognize those pieces that you have in front of you. Oh, I'm like dying. But take a minute and recognize those pieces that you have in front of you, and not only recognize them, but start acting on them. This looks so different for everybody. Again, I shared my Dutch Bros example. Another example that I have is on my dad's side of the family. They're not believers, so those are conversations that can be had. And I've seen a lot of hate from that side of the family as of late, with the Black Lives Matter movement going on. So I think those conversations are pieces that I can be picking up and placing back. So think about those conversations that might need to be had in your family or in your close circle of friends or wherever it may be, and really kind of recognize those pieces that are in front of you and those action steps that we can do right now, because it's important now that we take action, and it's important as Christ followers that we're continuing to push and teach the message of Christ to people while peacemaking, so that this world can one day fully be back to what it used to look like before the fall, and before Adam and Eve took a bite of that apple. So yeah, that's the imagery I wanted to share with you guys. Those are some of my takeaways from that trip. If you ever get an opportunity to go on a CSM Go trip or on a trip with Central, take the opportunity. I've now been to New York and LA and now Israel, and going to those places and seeing everything there and learning about people and learning about experiences that people go through is truly eye-opening. and is truly something that can really change your view on the world. So I encourage you to go. If you ever get a chance to go on any of those trips, definitely do it. But like I said, the world shattered into a million pieces when the fall happened, when Eve took a bite of that apple. And as Christians and as peacemakers, it is our job to pick those pieces back up and put them back to the place where they belong. I love you, CSM. Sorry, I've been choking this whole time. Join the Instagram Live. We're going to continue the conversation over there, talk about peacemaking a little more, and maybe some more practical ways that we can peacemake in our communities. But love you guys. Super excited to see your faces soon. We're back in buildings soon, and super pumped for camp. But I'll catch you guys later.